So that's great. We would follow that by having some kind of information about the key deliverable or key ask from the participants as to what does the CFA Institute expect the CFA candidates to do that, right at the second stage. And obviously, the main part of that is the refresher course, the success mantra, and how to prepare for it. And that's where the meat of the session is going to lie. Just for those who are a bit hungry for a topical aspect, I have something for them as well. It's like a 20-minute quick refresher on the cash flow statements, which is one of the crucial topics for the FRA, which is financial reporting and analysis, one of the biggest subjects, almost 20% of the entire course. And we can then follow it up with the question and answers. So great. I think to start with, I would like to first introduce myself and my colleague Amit Parekh. My name is Ankur Kulshrestha, and I represent a company called Fin Study Club. Fin Study Club is a venture between me and Amit. We've had some decent amount of experience into finance in corporate. I've been working in companies like Suzuki and E&Y, while Amit has been into the hedge fund side and has been into the IB for almost like 7-8 years, good number of years. And we together have formed up this company called Fin Study Club, which together with Wiley has come out with this wonderful product related to the CFA. Now here the advantage of Wiley being on board is that they bring in tons and tons of experience. Although for those who don't know, Wiley is the official publisher of the CBOC, which is the curriculum printed by CFA Institute. I mean, not to say that they do just this. I mean, obviously they are like one of the leading publishers globally, of different books and different publications, etc., and doing good amount of business. And we're very happy to have them, with Fin Study Club. And it is absolutely lovely to have, a leading platform like Edureka to support this. So the way I see that is that the bests all together have come up and, to deliver this kind of a program, which is the training for CFA Level 1, which is right up front onto your screen. Now what you see this graph is a pretty interesting graph. I mean, it has got 10 subjects in different colors, and I'm sure you would, some of you would know this percentage already, but the way I would like to, take that up is that the course curriculum is divided into broadly 4 aspects. The one is the ethics, which is like the basic, which CFA Institute focuses upon, and they're like very, very particular about this aspect. The second is the supporting tools, which is not the main thing a CFA will be hired for. For example, a CFA will never be hired for quantitative analysis, or a CFA would never be hired to do the accounting. For them, there are accountants, CPA, ACCA, chartered accountants, etc. But the third category, the equity, fixed income, derivative, and alternative investment. Now, this is the category which is the main meat of the investments and all this stuff, and that's where the knowledge powerhouse of a CFA comes into picture. And the fourth, and in fact the most important aspect, is the portfolio management. So that's how your curriculum has been divided. The lovely part about this curriculum structure is that the same 10 subjects are there with you for all the 3 levels, obviously differing in terms of the depth and the intensity. Obviously weighting between 5 to 15%, at different levels. So maybe at level 1, FRA, ethics, fixed income, and quants. I mean, these are like the 4 topics which are more critical than the others. Not to say that these are the only things that you got to study, but yeah, I mean, this is like relatively more important than the others. What also is very, very important for all the candidates to note down is the sectional cutoff. Now, obviously, there is like no confirmed policy in terms of what is the marks, the cutoff that a student would pass. But as a matter of fact, it has been seen that you got to passing by passing, I mean you got to scale between 50 to 70% in all the 10 subjects. Now like I said, that it is not some kind of a confirmation that if you get 0 to 50, 50 to 70% in all that you're going to pass, but it's like a safe zone, considered to be a safe zone. So even for example, alternative investment is like 5%, which is hardly anything if you look at the weight of the questions that are going to come from it. But still, the CFA Institute is pretty particular about different aspects that I mean, the overall development of a student in terms of knowledge of all the topics. So the key takeaway of this slide is that you should not take any of the topic lightly. I mean, there have been some exams, and there are some exam strategies where you prefer not to do 20% of it and try and get good marks in the balance 80%, the typical Pareto rule of 80-20. But I'll be putting a word of caution here that let's not try it out with the CFA parameter. Coming to a quick graph, I mean, obviously this graph is one of my favorites, not only as a student but as a faculty also now, because that just tells you that the difficulty level of CFA exam is increasing. If you look at the trend, obviously CFA is like a global charter and has been one of the most renowned exams all throughout. And if you look at this, the red line is consistently falling down. What it means is that the pass percentages, that's like a global average. It's not to do with any particular territory, any particular geography or country, but overall, if you look at it, it's pretty much around the 35 to 40% range. Now that said, it is pretty much a doable thing for a serious candidate. Let me put that up front. It is not like an exam where the pass percentage is 3 to 5%, which is like almost like next to impossible. So like a 35 to 40% would mean that 1 out of 3 student is going to pass, which is not a bad percentage. However, a very, very important aspect is that the exam is an MCQ, and it is not a without any negative marking, so the chances of success are even more. Now the structure of it, now like I'm saying, that a couple of points here would already be aware, but just a quick thing to bring everyone to pace. It has got a morning session and an afternoon session. So yes, typically the timings are 9 a.m. to 12, which is before lunch, and the other one is after lunch. So there's a couple of hours gap between the two, and the same 10 subjects are going to come up. Obviously different topics are going to be tested, and the weightage remains same. So it's like a pretty unique an exam, because typically the exam structure is one subject per exam, but here all the 10 subjects come in one, so that tests a lot of memory recall from a candidate point of view. Not only you should have in-depth knowledge, but the memory recall also has to be good. Okay, so there are about 120 questions in 3 hours and into two, so they're like one morning session and the evening session. Okay, now let's come to what does it take for a candidate to do or to get, or what do I say, I mean that's the success mantra, or an average pedagogy that CFA Institute expect every student to get. Upfront, CFA Institute is very clear that this course is meant only for those who are in the investment industry or who wants to be in the investment industry. This is not an accounting course. This is not a course in taxation. People who are into the IB profile, people who are into the banking or anything to do with investments, that's the golden charter that you got to follow. And to be honest, I mean for the last 8 years, I remember doing CFA way back in 2008, and being a charter holder for many years, I have really experienced the benefit of it. And it's not just I'm saying it for namesake, but you got to really believe me on this point. It's like you say that it's a passport for international investment industry. You really got to believe it. I mean, be it any global financial hub, be it London, Hong Kong, New York, or anywhere like Singapore. I mean, if you have a CFA, then no questions asked. So it's really the gold standard that we talk about. And it's like a post-grad course, so you can't do it before your graduation. The CFA Institute also has a parameter as to that you can still attempt it if you are in the final year of your college, which is really the second bullet that I'm talking about. So if, let's say, currently in the month of October, if you are already cleared your second year and you are into the third year, which is the final year of your grad, then you are absolutely fit to write this exam. How to prepare for the exam is obviously the key takeaway for this presentation, or this webinar that is going to end for some time. Now on the screen, I mean, this obviously is a very tight question for any faculty to answer, because there is a chance of being caught on the wrong foot. I mean, nonetheless, we have tried to create a balance between what the CFA Institute suggests and what we as a faculty and past students have felt. There are some commonalities here. One is what we felt as well, as CFA Training Institute, is that the continuity is extremely important. What I mean by continuity is that you got to really do it every day. This is not like one of the exams whereby you can just 15 days before the exam you can just ramp it up and clear it. I mean, obviously not. So if, let's say, I'm standing at 6th of October, the exam is exactly 2 months away, 5th of December. So I got to really spread my preparation across 2 months. You can't really have 1.5 months doing other stuff like your jobs or something, but you got to really be studious and be regular with your studies for the next 60 days. What I've also felt as a trainer and as a student as well, is the fact that doing one subject at a time sometimes is not the best approach, because sometimes tends to become a little more intense, and also you sometimes prefer to take a couple of subjects and all. But I'm not making a big point out of it, because that really is a personal trait that I have felt. Maybe as a student you might feel to do one particular subject at a time, and the latest way of being trained is to do from the CBOK, which is the curriculum book, and also at the same time be able to listen to some of the quick crash course kind of stuff for that quick understanding of certain subject. Now with that, what I meant is the fact that there are some topics which are going to be a little tight. Let's say in a subject called FRA, you have about 10 chapters, and out of that about 5 to 6 are a little typical. Now if you're going to spend your own time doing self-study, obviously in the next 2 months it will be difficult for you to cover them up adequately. So for that is where my fourth bullet comes up here, which is to watch and listen to a lot of video tutorials, specifically on the important topics. And obviously you got to really do back-to-back practices. Okay. So we're absolutely welcoming all questions as and when they want to come up. Let's not wait for the end of the session. Stop me wherever and whenever you feel that you don't understand anything. I'll be more than happy to answer any question should there be. Now coming back again to the course that we would be offering as a customized solution at this point in time. We understand that as a working professional or as a student, or in different phase of life that you may be, doing like a 120 hours of online course may not be very good approach at this point in time. So what we have done is we have divided the entire course into 8 weekends, which is essentially 16 days, and we have bifurcated that into 3 hours each. So roughly it gives us the 50 hours as a face time with the trainers like me and Amit. In these 50 hours we are going to cover the most important and the most difficult concepts of each and every subject. This 50 hours should not be understood that we are going to cover only the selective topics. What I mean by this is the face-to-face approach with different trainers is going to be with the difficult ones. You are going to get the recordings of all the not so important topic, as I would call it, through the online recorded tutorials. So by that I mean that the comprehensive coverage of the entire level 1 shall be done, and obviously the doubt sessions for these will also be conducted separately. So in the 50 hours of live training through these webinars, we are going to cover all 10 subjects and the key aspect, the important aspect, and the balance not so important topics shall also get covered through the online recorded tutorials, which will be made available to you in the due course. What is the USP of this course is, of course, apart from the experience that the trainer brings in, is the Wiley's presence. We understand that at this hour, the test bank or a practice question is the need of the hour. So Wiley, which like I introduced, is going to have much more stuff in terms of the formula sheets and all that stuff. So there is a lot of content which is going to come from Wiley in that sense. And I would be just a quick point here that's going to have 1500 questions in addition to the test bank. So the 2 points written here are just the highlight, to show that this course is exam oriented. But in addition to that, if you have the appetite, we have practice questions along with this package of almost like 1500 questions, and some formula sheets and some study materials, and all that package going to come to you along with this course. So all in all, if I look at it, this refresher course that we are talking about is a great way to, or should I say a good tool, at the moment, to cover the aspect up. Yeah, I mean, of course, we are not making a conclusive point that we would be able to make you clear the exam without you. I'll be very, very, very honest. Being a scholar myself, being a all India rank holder, at different parts in different courses that I've done, it is the self-study that matters. And a good and an effective mentoring at right stages is what really, really enhances the chances of success. And me and Amit are very, very categorical about it, that we are not going to step into the the domain where the student has to work hard. He will still have to work hard, but yeah, I mean, undoubtedly we will make the chances of success a little brighter. So I hope that the information about the refresher course that we are going to start with from this weekend is pretty clear. It's going to be a power pack performance. It's only 6 hours a week, so it is not a lot to absorb. We have decently paced it to end it in a way that it ends decently before the examinations, and it doesn't end too soon so that you forget. So it's rightly paced there and then. So it's going to be like a 3 hour session every day, Saturdays, Sundays, and sometimes on a Friday maybe, just as like a to catch up with some important parts. So I think with that I am almost done with my overall introduction about the course, the trainers, the the content, all other aspects. And with that I am absolutely good to start with my topical aspect of cash flow statement. So in the meantime, maybe we are absolutely happy to have some questions from Sanjeet. Sanjeet is asking whether is there any specific videos to watch, because Sanjeet is a little confused as to there are many videos on CFA Level 1 on online portals. Now, Sanjeet, is like a very, very relevant question that you have asked, and without kind of naming any competitor or any fellow colleague, this is a fact that today CFA Level 1 has been done, posted, onto YouTube. The free videos are there. A lot of course curriculum is there. So to answer your question, Sanjeet, well, there is a wide variety that you can look at. The only thing is that anything which you can see online for free or through YouTube or through different portals, the structure has to be very, very good, because at the end of the day it may be just a video for them, but for you it's a matter of clearing your exam. So like I said on my previous slide, that all in all it has to be on crucial topics, and as a student it will be very difficult for you to judge. So therefore you need that kind of a hand holding as to you would at least need that kind of a list of the crucial topic for which you can go and watch out the videos for. As a student, if let's say you watch out 10 videos and there obviously the list is incomplete, then you would be under a false impression that you have looked at. So maybe I may not be in a position to tell you the specific video that you got to look at, but yeah, you would need a good amount of hand holding from an expert in terms of identifying the list of topics at least that you got to look for online. and I'm very very clear that attending face-to-face classes, wasting time on travels, etc., etc., maybe at this point in time is going to be a little difficult. So Sanjeet, is a relevant point brought up that online is like the way to go forward, and either through recorded or through webinars like that. Okay, so now we can kind of pause for a couple of minutes here for any other questions that has come up. So Sanjeet, I hope that I've been able to answer your question, and in the meantime, I would request if the other participants can ask more questions here. So we have one more question coming from Radhika Chavla. It says that, is CFA tougher than CA? Now I can appreciate that this question is coming from India, where chartered accountancy is has been there, done that, all kind of a finance course for last 50 years, and the pass percentage of that is almost like 3 to 5%. Now Radhika, your fear is absolutely valid, and being a chartered accountant myself, I can really appreciate where you're coming from. To answer your question, uh, the like I said, the pass percentage is roughly 35 to 40%. Now here, if you look at from a CA perspective, it is almost like 5 times. So the probability of passing is 5 times. But I would still request you not to look from the probability of passing. Although I have answered that you are 5 times more probable to clear CFA than what you are to do CA, but the aspect is that both the course are not apple to apple. CFA gives you an entry into the investment industry, which is very very different from an accounting world. So in a way that you should find out as to you know uh, uh, what I'm trying to say is that CA is an accounting course, whereas CFA is an investment course. So you got to really really pack a different bag to be on a different journey. Don't compare it with the CA. I appreciate the point from a student point of view that a passing percentage is always a parameter, but toughness or easiness is a relative parameter. If only the pass percentage is something to say, then yeah, 5 times it is more easy. But other than that, I would still expect you know you to be better prepared, be it CA or a CFA. And I'm sure that passing CFA, at least with a good trainer like Fin Study Club, is not going to be difficult at all. So your CFA result, to answer your question finally, is about 40% in level 1, 35 to 40% is about 45% in level 2, and is almost about 50 to 55% in level 3. Okay. um, there's another question from Akta Gupta, which says that, are there any specific tutorials, for how to get a handle on how to use a financial calculator? Now, Akta, relevant question. Your financial calculator is a complicated machine which is being given to a candidate, which sometimes become more of a burden rather than a benefit to a student in the exam hall. It is like a complicated plane that you have been made to sit on a plane to drive it without getting the training as to how to get it off the ground. We as part of the package are going to record a specific video about different aspects about the calculator, and so that and we will handhold you through all that stuff. And obviously in different parts of different subjects, we will be very very easy and slow in terms of using the calculator, so that a student has got no problem. Okay, so as part of the curriculum here, in this refresher course, you're going to get a specific tutorial, maybe for a 45-minute or a 60-minute kind of a session, where you would be exactly taught each and every function of this complicated looking calculator. Okay. Now the next question is from Navisha Chaudhary. It says that, is CFA or actuarial science, what is more difficult? And that's the first part. And second is, what are the job prospects? Again, a pretty relevant point here, Navisha. And I believe that you are from a mathematics background, because you brought the point of actuarial science up. Actuarial, particularly, if you look at it, is something which is used extensively in insurance and different statistical application. This is out and out specific discipline which has been carved out of the science portion of it, whereas CFA is part of the finance vertical. Now if you look at it, finance is something hybrid between a commerce and a science. Finance is the understanding of business. Science is the creation of business, while the commerce is the buying and selling of that business. So if I were to answer your question, actuarial science has a very niche market. Maybe the number of jobs are going to be very handy, but yeah, the pay packages etc is pretty decent. On the other hand, CFA is a little more widespread, and the probability of getting a job is higher in CFA because the applicability, the employability of a CFA candidate is much higher compared to an actuarial science. If I were to look at the number of employers, maybe an insurance company will be a good employer for an actuarial science. But if you ask me about a CFA, there is a whole lot of area that you can go into. Okay, number one. Number two, actuarial is much more difficult than CFA, and I'm not saying because this is like a CFA, webinar which is going on. I'm saying that because I myself have attempted one, paper for actuarial, and believe me, the difficulty level is at a different tangent altogether. Okay, so keeping that in mind, it's a different plane altogether. So it's very mathematics oriented, which is not at all the case with CFA. And that brings me to the question of Preeti, which is asking that she's not very strong at maths. So how does she prepare for quants? Now again, Preeti, that's where the role of a good trainer comes into picture. A good trainer always try to simplify the concept and then makes it easier for the student to decode. And that's where the role of a good question bank also comes up. Very few people, and I'm pretty okay to make that comment, and for records, very few people, as CFA candidate, pay good attention to the questions. They are like always into the concepts, and the question banks that they have been referring to are age-old question banks. The course curriculum have been really redefined by the CFA Institute in the last 3 years. Different chapters, different subjects, the way the questions are being asked is different, the topics that are being asked is different. So you can't really harp upon the question bank which has been into the business since last 7-8 years. I mean, just to make that point, the question bank that I prepared with is still being followed without getting a lot of changes. So obviously that tells you that that's not a relevant question bank to be followed. So like Preeti is mentioning that she's not good at quants. A good and a relevant question bank can be of help, and a good faculty maybe will be able to decode your problems. Now Preeti, you would have some problems in different topics like a permutation combination or a correlation regression, so maybe this is not the forum to handle those. But yeah, you got to take it step by step, take adequate guidance, a personalized guidance from a expert trainer, and there you'll be able to solve these questions. But yeah, I mean, all in all, you got to work a little harder in a couple of modules like quants and fixed income. That brings me to my next question, and I'm very happy that the participants are making it very interactive. I have 5-6 questions more in line, so let me just take them one by one. The next question is by Vandita, and she's mentioning the fact that she's giving CFA for the second attempt in this December. Now, the first time maybe she may not be able to clear that. Now the question that she's asking is that should she focus upon more on the content and the concept, or should she focus upon the mocks and the practice questions more? Manita, that's a very good question to ask, and that has always been a catch-22 situation as a faculty and as a student as well. There's like a fine balance that you got to strike. There are, let me tell you about the two extremes that you might get into. The first extreme is typically the approach where you keep on focusing only on the content. That leaves you with very less exam preparation. The second approach is broadly to look at your the question banks much before you are prepared for it. Now there are a lot of faculties also that sometimes suggest to jump onto the question bank immediately, which I believe is not the best approach to follow. So my approach to this is that you got to strike a balance. You got to look at the core books or the study guides from wherever you are referring to, maybe Wiley or the core books, one at least very much in detail. Have like a summary kind of thing prepared, unless you get like a formula sheet. And once that is done, there you got to follow then jump on to the question bank. there is absolutely no point in doing a question bank unless you have a conceptual clarity. So the conceptual clarity is important. I don't want you to start doing the question bank and get a success rate of 40% and then try to improve. It will be very, very difficult. You got to do the question bank when the starting success rate is coming out to be at least 70%, and then try and raise it up. Okay, Vandita, so I hope that I've been able to answer your question. You got to do the conceptual part first and then maybe focusing upon the question bank. One more important point here, Vandita, is that you should also spend a little more time on the modules that you could not clear in the first time. See, the CFA exam is not the exam where you would go from strength to strength. It is not an exam where you will be able to balance out the strength with the weaknesses. You got to have a minimum balanced scorecard. Like I said, that all 10 subjects, remember the pie that we had shown a little while ago, you got to pass in all the 10. So if let's say you're weak in a particular subject and strong in one, don't make a stronger subject further stronger. So you got to really focus upon the weak areas, and that's how you should strategize it. And like again I'm saying, and that's where the role of an should I say a mentor comes into picture. Okay, my next question is from Harsh, and Harsh is asking that he's right now doing CA and he's into the final year and also doing the articleship. Is it right now a good idea to he wants a job in the investment industry, as to kind of he wants to make a career in the finance. So what is the job that he should apply for? Now it's like a very, very good question and must be crossing most of the CA students mind all day and night. And as a trainer, I have confronted this question many, many times. And obviously this is a call that people like Harsh and different students have to make upfront. Answer to that is you got to apply at an entry level as an analyst, be it in the financial research preferably, or into the equity research, or some kind of a business research. So from an accounting aspect or a tax aspect or an audit aspect, you got to shift yourself towards the finance aspect. I am not doubting the fact that your CA is also a finance course, but I am also not very, very convinced that your CA is a complete finance course. While you are a chartered accountant, you are a master of accounts, audit, and tax. So people like Hirsch, and I can say that with conviction because I am a chartered accountant as well, along with being a CFA charter holder. There are two different aspects. So if you want a job in finance, you got to make that shift ASAP is the answer. I'm sure whenever you're going to start with not so great a package, but nonetheless, the earlier the starting, the better it is going to be for you. So my suggestion therefore, Harsh, will be that you should start applying for a job of an analyst or some kind of a kind of a research profile, wherein you got to be a little distant from your typical course of audit, tax, and accounts. But yeah, I mean that's the call that you have to make as a career. As a balanced person between the two, obviously we are not against any course here, but as a balanced guy, the job in the finance fields are increasing in the country, let's say in emerging markets, because a lot of finance work from the the triad, or let's say the US, UK, or the Japan, or the mature markets are being outsourced in India. Auditing on the other hand, and accounting on the other hand, using the softwares is being highly automated these days. So earlier the work of 10 CAs is now being done by maybe 2 CAs and one software. Now keeping all that in mind, you got to be a little more mindful about the job aspects that you got to go. So my sense is, Harsh, that you got to make that shift, and you got to make that shift pretty quickly. Okay, I have my next question coming from Drishti. It says that what are the job prospects after clearing CFA level 1? And I really love this question, Drishti. It's one of the favorite questions that I've been answering almost a million times already. Now, to answer that question, let me differentiate CFA from a typical finance course, and I'm going to here therefore refer example of MBA finance. In an MBA finance, you are under a binary function. What I mean by binary function is on off. Either you are an MBA finance or you are nothing. a 1 year, if let's say the total program is of 2 years and you have done 3 semesters, which is equal to 1.5 years, you will still not be regarded as an MBA. So the job prospects are absolutely zero. Yeah, if you cross that line, then the job prospects open up. Herein, something called as a CFA, there is level 1, there is level 2, and there is level 3. Now, all the three levels have got different levels of skills that are being imparted in a candidate. Now, the job requirements and the job availability in the market is also according to the skill. Now here, if the moment you clear level 1, please don't expect to get the best job of the world. I mean, don't expect to become an investment banker on the first day. I'll be pretty honest with you. I mean, for that you would need level 3 and a considerable amount of experience. Only then you will be able to function as a good investment banker. But let's say my level 1, my level 2, and my level 3 all have different skill sets being imparted, and the job requirement also keeps on happening. To answer your question, therefore, Drishti, there are good amount of jobs that get opened up, obviously at an entry level, after doing level 1 as well, which is really not the case with a course called CA or a course called MBA Finance. These courses are a binary courses. Either you are a complete CA or you are nothing. Either you are a complete MBA Finance or you're nothing. But here, CFA level 1 also has a recognition in the industry. So, okay, so I hope I have answered your question. Um, Now, this next question is from Nitendra Jain, who's asking, how is CFA different than FRM? Now, again, it's a very important question. Upfront, let me put that about 30-35% of the curriculum between CFA and FRM is similar, number one. But there are a different approach that you got to follow. While CFA is more towards the risk side, I'm sorry, while FRM is more towards the risk side, the CFA focuses more upon the value addition through investments. So I would want to put it in a very simplistic way. It is between the return and the risk. If you got to focus only upon the risk side, you got to do something called as FRM. But if you want to earn some return for your clients, then you got to do something called CFA. A lot of students who do CFA and take CFA training are also able to do FRM. It's like a 2-level course. This is like a 3-level course. This takes about 2 years to get completed. Obviously, this takes a little lesser. It's more theoretical approach, more practical approach. These are like a couple of differences. Obviously, it's like FRM also has a speciality here in the industry. But a quick point here is that your CFA maybe encompasses a large part of your FRM as well. So like I said at the beginning, that a lot of people who take CFA also do FRM, as an additional degree. Okay. Another question from Nitendra that is coming up is that he's a computer application expert. He's an MCA, passed out almost like 10 years ago, so has got good solid a decade experience in the IT industry, and is working in an investment bank. So which is absolutely lovely to hear, Nitendra. You're asking whether CFA is relevant to me. Now, to answer that question, I am absolutely convinced that if there is one profession that CFA is most relevant, it is yours. You are into the investment banking, and CFA is all about investments. I appreciate the fact that you might not be directly dealing into your equities or debts and the fixed income, but these are the things that you must be dealing with, talking about, making presentations for, thinking about them, appreciating these all throughout 365 days in a year. These are the things: fixed income, equity, derivatives, portfolio management, investments, returns, all that thing. That's exactly what you learn in your CFA. If CFA is anything about, so it's these 4-5 aspects. Okay, so this is absolutely relevant to you. Okay, in fact, let me bring this point up. A lot of people who are into IT, who are not maybe directly into the finance vertical, but are being employed in the investment banks, have started to learn CFA, because the feedback that we have got over a period of 7 years is the fact that they tell us that it helps them in better client management. If they understand what the clients understand, it is easier for them to design the programs, or it's easier for them to write the codes or whatever else. So overall, if you ask me, a lot of people who are into the software, people who are into the legal aspect, people who are into different aspects of an investment bank or a research company have started to do CFA, because I mean that's the latest buzz in going around in the finance field. So I hope that I've been able to answer Niten's question. The next question is from a candidate, Neha Jain, who is asking as to what should she do if the question is that what to do if stuck in level 2 or level 3, as also in the case with some other professions like CA or actuarial. Now, Neha, that's like a little tough question to answer, but again, it's pretty similar to a question asked a little while ago by one of the candidates. Well, the answer to that is that you got to find a good mentor. Something is wrong. I mean, that's why you are getting stuck. Now, the things that can go wrong is, one, the strategy that you are applying. Number two, the time that you're devoting. Number three, the guidance that you're getting. One of the three, or should I say all three, have to be at the same time for the success. I don't know what was the case with you, so you got to do a little bit of introspection yourself. But I am very clear that with a 40% pass rate, getting all three together is not a difficult job. It's not like CA where the success rate is 5%. I mean, 5% is almost like 1 out of 20 kids is passing. 40% means 1 out of every 2.5, 2 out of every 5. And if I put that perspective, 8 out of 20 is passing. So I deny that fact that passing CFA is a difficult thing, if at all. So if you're getting stuck in level 2 or level 3, find a good mentor, work upon these three areas, and I'm sure that passing that will not be a big problem. Okay. Now another question is from Nitendra Jain, who earlier said that he's from computers. So he says that he doesn't have finance as a background. So how difficult would that be for him? Now, honestly, Nitendra, to answer your question, uh, in level 1, there are 3 levels like I mentioned. In level 1, for let's say first 15-20 days, you got to work a little extra, because it has some subjects like financial reporting and analysis. It has got some basic things which maybe a commerce graduate would have learned in the graduation. Having said that, you got to appreciate the fact that in the US, a lot of people who take this course are from non-commerce background, and the CFA curriculum is designed in a way, it has been written in a way that anyone who doesn't have any commerce knowledge, any finance knowledge, would still be able to do this course. So that's the beauty of the core books that have been written. That's the beauty of a good trainer, the way the concepts are taught. Now, if you look at some of the videos that are there for online, this thing, onto YouTube for some marketing and all purposes, you'd find that some of the videos that I had recorded are absolutely from the base level. Now, if you are an accountant, you might get a bit bored out of that, but the idea is to bring everyone to the same page. And that's where I announce at the beginning of every topic that this topic is going to be difficult for this category, easy for this category, so that it can position itself. Now, I'm not making like a particular point or raising any specific issue here. All I'm trying to say is that Nitin, to answer your question, it'll be maybe for the first 15 days you might feel that it's getting a little difficult, but I can guarantee you that software engineers or sciences or people who have got analytical bent of mind are the ones who are the best stock market analyst. The most difficult stock market fundamentals and the formulas are written by sciences. Okay, so I'm a strong believer of the fact. So if that is something which is holding you back, think no further. I hope I've been able to answer your question, Nitin. Okay, the next question is by Harsh again, and he's asking the question that he was selected for research analyst, but because of the package, rejected the job. Now, Harsh, again, I recall that you're doing your CA and into your articleship. Now in this case, my suggestion is that decide what you want from life. If you want to do something in finance, like I said, join that ASAP. Initial levels are always going to be lower. Obviously every country will have a different perspective, every geography will have a different pay package, every company will have different, so it will be difficult for me to put a number here. But yeah, overall I can say that the level 1 initial jobs for the first 6 months to 12 months is going to be very, very base level. So you should be happy if you're able to make a sustained living out of that. But I can also guarantee that maybe after a 12 month of experience, it will be like a decent job with 1 year of experience. Maybe level 1 with 2 years of experience will be even better. Level 2 is going to be very good. Level 3 is going to be really, really good. And after becoming a CFA charter holder, you know you got to tell me which Mercedes that you got to buy next. So all in all, obviously it's like a upscale trajectory that you're going up. So maybe the beginning is at a fairly low level, which I agree with you, but you got to really, really scale that up as you move along. Okay, so I hope, Harsh, that I've been able to answer that pretty much. Now, again, a question is from Arpit, and I'm really, really happy the way this session is turning out to be, because that's exactly what we wanted, to clear as many doubts as possible. Now, Arpit again is asking that he's an IT engineer with about 3 years of experience in software, and they now really look forward to enter finance domain, and hence they're looking for CFA. And Arpit, you're exactly where Nitendra was a little while ago. A lot of IT professionals are entering CFA because that's really, really the next buzzword. To be honest, if you look at the evolution of computer engineering, about maybe 15 years ago, a computer engineer used to be paid good amount of salary. With the invent of Infosys and all that stuff, gradually the salary started to fall because obviously the supply had gone up. So this lot who got a little lesser amount started to do MBA finance, and with that MBA finance they were able to get a better salary. Now, even with an MBA finance now, the package that they are being given right now is on a gradual fall. How to double that up now? And the answer to that is CFA. A lot of software engineers, a lot of mechanical engineers, a lot of IT professionals are planning to do CFA now. And that's exactly where I come from. A finance is a hybrid of commerce and science. You really got to believe that finance doesn't belong to commerces, it belongs to sciences. Okay, so having said that, Arpit, I hope I've been able to answer that question. It will not be a difficult job. You got to just make yourself very, very clear in your mind, and you should just take the plunge. You should just take the plunge. It will never be the best shot that you would take. You got to take a shot and try to make the best out of that, and that's how life is. Okay, you're asking that how you should go about in future. Is CFA the right course and the job opportunities? Obviously, I mean, if you want to look into the research wing, if you want to look into the investment banking, if you want to go into anything to do with fund management, anything to do with perhaps the mutual funds, anything to do with portfolio management, anything to do with the investments, anything to do with banking, anything to do with insurances. I mean, I can take 100 more names. Then look no further. I mean, that's the way that you got to go. And please appreciate the fact that I'm not saying because there's like a CFA curriculum or a CFA webinar going on. I've said the same thing in my CA classes as well. I've said the same thing in my MBA schools that I go and visit for, and I'm pretty clear about the fact. I mean, we got to call spade a spade, and you got to call an ace an ace. So that's how the thing is. Okay, so Nitendra Jain is again asking a question, and in fact telling us as to which bank does he work for. So this is great to look at that. Harsh is again asking a question that can I name some investment bankers for good job to get good experience before clearing level 1 and level 2. Now obviously Harsh, it will be like a little diplomatic. I'll have to be a little diplomatic because either I give you the complete list or I don't give you anything. But yeah, there are good investment banks based out of Bangalore, Bombay, if you're based out of India, as I can guess. So you got to be a little more flexible in terms of your location. So be prepared to be in Bombay or Bangalore, primarily in Bombay being the financial capital of the country. And there you have maybe 30-35 investment banks, may not be doing pure investment banking, but yeah, doing very, very similar stuff. So you would have Bank of America, you would have JP Morgan, you would have Goldman Sachs in Bangalore, you would have CLSA, you would have Franklin Templeton, you have, I mean, the list just goes on and on. So like good candidates get selected at these levels. Now obviously you got to have some prior experience before these premier institutions take you, and there you got to plan your career. Please don't expect that right after graduation, and if you're able to do CFA level 1, you'll be able to directly get a job in one of the premier institute. And by the way, that just brings me to the point that Amit is from JP Morgan, my co-founder and the lead trainer, the other lead trainer who takes up the 50%. So he'll be the best person to appreciate this fact that like world class companies really seek world class candidates. So you got to really fill yourself with a lot of skills, and clearing CFA level 1 and level 2 is being seen as the skill set for an analyst. So like I said, that's really the way to go going forward. Another question which is coming from Akta Gupta is that should she rely upon the books given by the CFA Institute or the ones published by different institute like Wiley, or different people who kind of come out with notes and all. Now to answer that question, Akta, I'll have to again be, you guys are asking tight questions, so I got to be a little more smarter in answering those. The best approach is to look at the CFA Institute core book, because those are the guys who have written it, and those are the guys who are going to design your question paper as well. So I have to be fair and objective right now. It's best to do core books. Having said that, I also appreciate the fact for a working professional, doing core book is going to be a hell lot of job. So there the need for good structured notes, which on one hand are precise and on the other are comprehensive. Now this is like a fine balance that you got to create. Sometimes you would find notes to be too precise, sometimes you find it to be too comprehensive. If it's too comprehensive, then obviously it's better to do core book itself. If they are too precise, then the course content, the course coverage, almost like 60%, is not a good coverage to be. So the notes that you're referring to here have to be very precise and should I say crisp. And that's where as FinStudy Club, we have decided to partner with Wiley. I mean, that's the balance that we found in them. Good solid experience that they've got, obviously over decades and decades of in the education industry, able to do a good job between the precision and and then the comprehension. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Akta. Okay, Radhika is again asking a question: do we have to devote the same time to CFA as we have to devote to CA? Radhika, my answer to that is your CFA is going to take much lesser time. The only thing is that the bent of mind has to be a little different. What I mean by the bent of mind is the fact that you are doing a course which is analytical, and doing an analytical course always wants a fresher mind, a lesser tired mind, and a more active mind to participate in that. Now, if you look at a CA curriculum, there are a lot of subjects which are theoretical, which sometimes involve a lot of mugging up. Please, there is no mugging up in CFA. It's purely analytical. It's purely if and then analysis, and that's where the money lies. No one gives you these days money to tell you, to tell the historical aspect or to analyze that. Everyone wants what is going to happen in future. You got to analyze, you got to forecast, and that's where vitamin M lies. And that's all. That's something that you and I, aspire for. So to answer your question, Akta, sorry, Radhika, that you got to devote much lesser time, but with a different bent of mind. Okay. Again, a question from Arpit, which says that what is the overall period of this course, and when can I switch from IT to finance? Now, Arpit, for you, I would suggest a staggered switching. I would not suggest a direct switch, because I'm sure that with your 2.5 years of experience, you must be at a particular level of your salary. So directly jumping on to the finance field is going to be difficult as far as different aspects of your life is concerned. So you got to take that call up front and be very convinced about it. Try and clear level 1 at least while being in the same job. And once you are level 1 or perhaps level 2, then you go to scout for a finance job, so that you're able to get a decent job. So the answer to the question is try and clear level 1 and level 2 very quickly, as soon as possible. Okay. Now the next question is from Tushar. And he's saying that he's again an IT engineer. So I believe that a lot of IT people, are interested in this course, and that's exactly is a testimonial for my statement. Like I said, that it's a science-driven course, not a commerce-driven course. So Tushar is asking that being an IT engineer, he works on ERP. He is an enthusiast in finance and have started the MBA finance course. So Tushar, I hope that you uh, took what I said about MBA finance in good spirit. I mean, obviously, without demeaning anything about it. I mean, I just wanted to kind of lay down the challenges of that course objectively. So please, nothing against it personally. So it says that so Tushar is saying that he's doing MBA finance. He's an IT engineer working on ERP. What is the advice that you'd like to share for considering CFA course? Now, again, it's like the similar question being packaged in a different form. Being an IT engineer, there is a level to which that you can go up. It's called as a technical job. Someday you got to become commercial. Commercial doesn't mean anything to do with sales. It means to have an overall understanding of the buying and selling of the product. There is a limit to which the designing can be done. Or perhaps should I say, out of 100 people that pass out, maybe 7 or 8 can be into R&D. All other people have to be somewhere. Now, if you're into ERP, I believe that you're part of this vertical, which is pretty niche in that sense. Although it's growing up, but it's pretty niche right now. The balance is still open up, and that's where the commercial aspect comes into picture. So, to answer your question, Tushar, you got to look at CFA as your entry into the commercial aspects. A lot of aspects are going to open up. What you're doing as a back end guy, maybe suddenly you will start doing it as a front end guy. The bonus percentage, which I believe you would be getting, is roughly to the range of 20 to 25. Just make them 4 times. The bonus percentage will be 100 to 150 percentage. I mean, that's the level of premium that the CFA course demands, not only in India, across the globe. So you got to be very, very careful about all that stuff. So I hope I've been able to answer your question, Tushar. The next question is from Harsh, that he's in Hyderabad. Suppose he does a job as research analyst or a financial or a equity analyst, then do I have to stuck for 2 to 3 years for the same job? Obviously no. Obviously no. First 1 year at least you got to be there, learn as many aspects as possible. After 12 months, like I said, the real value unleashes. You would yourself see that your role in the organization will grow, or obviously you're going to get some opportunity outside. So maybe for the first 1 year you got to do a good job out of the base level, and then maybe try and move towards a better job. Okay. Navisha is again asking a very, very relevant question. It's a great question, Navisha. The question that you're asking, for everyone's benefit, let me just pronounce that, is if let's say she clears level 1 and takes up a job, which typically the pattern is, would she be able to study for level 2 and level 3 along with the job? Now that's a very, very good question. In fact, if you wouldn't have brought up, I would have done that in a couple of minutes. To answer that, by design, CFA curriculum is the course which is to be done with your job. If I have to summarize my answer, this will be it. It has been designed in a way, the questions are designed in a way, the curriculum book has been written in a way, that a person can very well do that with your job. Having said that, I'm not saying that after doing 10 hours work in office, it will be very convenient and very happy and full of fun and frolic to study. Obviously, you would study anything, it will involve some bit of extra hard work. Let's not deny that fact. I mean, that's like a common sense more than a concept. Having said that, I'm not trying to really give you a dogmatic kind of advice here, or I'm not trying to sermonize that what you should do, but I'm just telling you, Navisha, that the trend is that people clear level 1 and they take up a job, a base entry job, which is not very taxing, clear level 2, change the job, again, which is a little more relevant, clear level 3, again change a job. So that's how, like, I said that level 1, level 2, level 3, all three will have different job requirements. You keep on stepping up the ladder, and the questions and the type of jobs and requirement, etc., that you know you're going to get will keep on increasing. So keeping that in mind, to answer your question, Navisha, answer is absolutely yes, absolutely yes. Okay. Again, a very relevant question. Now, also, does your forum provide any support for fetching a job in case I clear level 1? Now, Navisha, there is no guarantee that we are giving to anyone. It's not a placement guarantee that you're buying. But yeah, I mean, we will be your mentors, much beyond just the curriculum. And, like I said, that, me and Amit have got decent experience into corporate industry, like hedge funds, investment banking, consulting, and all that stuff. So we will do our best to guide you, which we have anyways done over a period of 7 years. Some of our students are sitting in very, very good positions, in very, very good companies like BlackRock, CLSA, JP Morgan, and all that stuff. So rest assured, let me put it on record, there is no placement guarantee that we give. But yeah, the basic hygiene stuff in terms of assisting you, would still be done. Okay. Next question is from Preeti. How many readings are required to be done before you can finally sit for the exam? Now again, Preeti, it is like you guys are putting me in the tight spot, because I mean, what answer do I give? Let me give you a clever answer. You got to revise it n plus 1, where n is equal to number of times you don't get it. Okay, so if you are able to should I say, if you're unable to get it even after doing it for 3 times, you got to do it one more time. If you're unable to do it in 4 times, you got to do one more time. So that's my clever answer to your clever question. Okay, so I hope I've been able to do justice to a very, very tough question. But yeah, I mean, that was on a lighter note. A bit more seriously, the CFA Institute says that although there's no written policy for it, they say that you got to do it once practically, and then you got to revise it one more time, and then a day before the exam you go to revise. So all in all, 3 times is what we also recommend. I mean, once you do it with your coaching classes, the second time is what you do as a self-study. And if, let's say, your exam is on 5th December, then obviously on 3rd and 4th you got to revise the entire curriculum. So you got to really do that 3 times. Okay, but having said that, again, it's a it's a delta gap that you're filling up. Now please try and understand that you are here and you want to reach there. That's the delta that you got to bridge. But if you're here much farther, then the delta has to be a little bigger, is what I'm trying to say. So the answer that I'm giving, hence I like this answer of n plus 1. So that really depends upon the capability of a student. Okay, so I hope I've been able to answer the question which is being asked. Okay, so now the next question is from Drishti, which says that why do we use short and long in finance instead of buying sell? It is very confusing. Now, Drishti, it's a very interesting question. In fact, it's a very innocent question, that you've asked. Now you're part of finance, so let me just try and unveil some of the aspects about finance. Now, finance is a very, very flamboyant language. It's like a stylish world to be in. It is not a simple and a sober world to live. You got to be very, very stylish, and hence the terminologies like long and short. I completely agree with the fact that you can use the terms buy or sell, but yeah, I mean, that's how things have been. Another answer to that is finance has evolved over a period of time from lay of land. Finance is not a rule driven topic like your, let's say, Companies Act or Income Tax Act or any other act, where if the rule says that you got to pay 30% tax, then you got to pay 30% tax. Finance is a logic driven discipline. It is being derived by the lay of land. Have you ever wondered that why is the currency of different countries different? The fact is that as the civilizations were evolving, maybe 10,000 years ago, every country was de-linked to each other, being separated by water. or I don't know, maybe trees or something. So every country had a different medium of exchange, which later on took the name of currency. Okay, so that's the lay of land. That's what used to happen, and that is what has been transformed into something called as foreign exchange, which is a very advanced and flamboyant discipline. Now, if you look at forex, some of the very basic aspect will date back right at the time where the civilizations were being framed. So to answer the question shortly, the long and short story of it, really you and I can't do anything about it. We better get used to it. Okay, Drishti? So maybe the confusion is there for a couple of days, but you got to really be up for it, and don't be bogged down by any further this thing about it. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm getting another question from Hirsch, so that's really a wonderful session. So let me just take this last one up. Can you specifically say at which level, which post to apply? Hirsch, let's just take this offline, because it will also depend upon as to what is your prior experience to it. If let's say you have already worked as a into the finance industry for a couple of years, then even after doing level 1, your job levels is going to be better than a fresher. So like I said, you got to understand it in a way that your knowledge from CFA plus the work X is going to give you a job. If this grows, your job level can grow. If work X grows, then also job level can grow, because these two things give you something called as skills, and your jobs are linked to the skill. Your job is not linked to the knowledge or the work X. Your job is linked to something called as skills. So greater the skills that you have. Now Harsh, honestly, I don't know the skills that you have right now. What's your background? How good or bad are you at different things? So maybe difficult to answer that right now, but I mean, that's a broad structure that I can create for you. Okay, so now again a question, maybe the almost like the closing bell. The questions are dropping up at a fast pace, so I better be a little more faster. Nitendra is asking, CFA level 1 is enough for me, or need to do level 2 or level 3? Now Nitendra, again the question is, the higher the levels that you would keep on clearing, that will give you adequate skills, and you got to then benchmark your question with the quality of jobs that you're getting. If let's say by doing level 1 you are able to get a job, maybe let's say of 10 lakh per annum INR, and you're not satisfied with it, then what do? You clear level 2, and then you're going to get a job of 15 lakh per annum. Let's obviously, and now this answer is to Nitendra, who has got almost like 10 years of experience. Please please don't take my words for it that after clearing level 1 you're going to directly get a 10 lakh job. Obviously not. I mean, that depends upon the experience, and Nitendra has got 10 years of experience, which is decent enough. So therefore, this question answer is specifically for him. Otherwise, I'll be in a very tight spot. I mean, getting 15 lakh is not a joke these days. Yeah. So Nitendra, now obviously these figures are hypothetical figures. These figures are hypothetical figures. If let's say you're already at a number, then this number is going to go up in a different way. And let's say if you don't want to leave your core IT domain, then obviously clearing level 1 will be good enough. It'll going to give you good understanding of different aspect. What I can say is that level 3 is really out of question. You should think that by clearing level 2, if you're able to increase this, let's say even by 10%, then obviously it is worth it. It's obviously worth it. Okay, so I would say level 1 is going to give you good understanding of things. Level 2 is going to really master your aspects of. Level 3 is not for you. But if you want to really shift yourself towards the portfolio management aspect, then you got to do for level 3 as well. Okay, so I hope I've been able to answer that question. Okay, okay. So the next question is from Radhika, which is a very basic question, good question although. Like, what is the eligibility to enter this course? Now you should have 55% in your graduation, and you should be a graduate. Yeah, so that's about it. Any discipline, no problem. Recognized university has to be there in different countries, and you got to have a valid passport. That's the only identification proof that CFA Institute agrees. No Aadhaar card, no ration cards, no driving license, nothing at all. Just one international proof. So you got to understand that your Aadhaar card is very, very country specific, which is India. Okay, your ration card, anyways, no one asks about ration card in India itself. Forget about international community. Internationally, if there is any one number that you're known with, it's your passport number. So you got to have a valid passport. Okay. ठीक है, done. So I am almost like about to close the session. Pretty much it's been absolutely a fantastic session, and I would like to thank everyone for creating almost like a rapid fire for me, and I really really love interacting with everyone. What I can assure you, I mean, these refresher courses, that we have been talking about, the USP is the program that we are bringing up, and one of the one of the key aspect is the trainers, the power bank that you're going to get through Wiley, the IT infra of Edureka. I mean, what more do you ask for? I mean, you have people, who are best in their field and they're doing their respective jobs. It would have been easier for us to have our own question bank, but me and Amit had decided to take a specialist on board, and we come across with Wiley as a combined team. Edureka itself is an expert, is like one of the beaming stars of different IT industry and this education. This thing have been doing some webinar at a really really good level. I'm very happy to get associated. So overall, as a customer, if you look at it, it's like a winning proposition. More so with only 2 months left, it's like a great idea to join this refresher course, which will be starting from this weekend. So I hope that I've been able to answer a good amount of questions. So with that, we can kind of bring it to the close. It's been absolutely lovely talking to everyone. So good night everyone in India, and have a great day to people who are from international community, maybe the US or the Europe. And looking forward to the success in your careers. We are absolutely there, for any help that you might need. Through Edureka, you can reach out to us, or maybe you type FinStudy Club, onto the YouTube. You're going to get some, videos, etc. So we are all there online. So it's not difficult to track someone, in terms of the whereabouts. I mean, through LinkedIn and all that stuff. So really, I'm pretty excited to interact with you guys and look forward to have a good session going forward for the December attempt. Okay, just a quick point. We are very very exam oriented guys, and if let's say the average percentage in India has been about 30-35 percentage over the past years, what we have seen is that our students have been able to score almost like 80%. What I mean by that is, if we teach 10 people, or 8 out of them pass. So maybe this is almost like double the global average, and me and Amit are very very happy and particular about this fact, not to dilute the quality. So rest assured that all that stuff is going to be there. But anyhow, we are absolutely there for any guidance, even if you don't join the course and all that stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a relationship that goes beyond the commercials, and that's how the education industry should be. Okay, and so absolutely it was great to speak to you guys through this medium, and look forward to the session going ahead. So okay guys, so let me just put this off, and have a great weekend, and have a great week ahead before, and happy studying. Welcome to the world of finance. Okay, welcome to FinStudy Club and Edureka. Thank you guys. So good night. Cheers. Bye.